Hey everyone, it's Erin from erinbunpaints. Welcome back to another acrylic painting tutorial. Today I'll be teaching you some tips and tricks behind making your very own customized piece of abstract art. While paint colors are totally flexible for this painting, considering you probably want to work with your own personal color palette, I use 4 different paint colors for my example here today. I use red, yellow, phthalo blue, and white. The tools I use today are incredibly different compared to my usual tutorials. Usually I use about 3 different paintbrushes of different sizes and shapes, but today I don't use any paintbrushes. I use these tools instead. I have a spatula. You can see this spatula is just a regular rubber spatula. It's very thick. It's Betty Crocker brand in case you're wondering, and I did buy it from the dollar store. And then this is a palette knife here. I bought it from an art store and it's commonly used just to scrape paint onto canvas just like we'll be using today. And it's the Liquitex brand in case you're wondering about that. These tools are flexible in more ways than one. Other things that you can use instead of a spatula and a palette knife include business cards, old credit cards, stiff pieces of card or cardboard, plastic cutlery, really anything with a nice straight edge that you can scrape with. It can be either flexible and thick like my spatula, or a little more stiff and thin like my palette knife. Try out a bunch of stuff. I think you'll be surprised what can actually work with this painting technique. Today's tutorial is going to be a little different than usual. While commonly I have a reference painting which I'm recreating with you step by step as close as possible to my original, this time I'm going to be giving you a few different strategies and tips to create your very own unique piece of abstract art. I have a few different abstract pieces which I do show you throughout the tutorial to give you an idea of different color schemes, different layouts and techniques you can use for your own painting. And then I have this one beside me, which is the one I actually recreated live as I did the initial tutorial. The tutorial footage, as usual, was taken from a recent live stream of mine. If you want to ask me questions while you paint and interact with all the other viewers who are painting along together at the same time, you can tune in live next time. Check me out in one of 2 places. I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/erinbunpaints. That's where I stream both my tutorials and just regular everyday painting content. Or you can check me out on Facebook at facebook.com/erinbunpaints. That's where I stream my tutorials on Facebook Live. Otherwise, you can check me out on Instagram. You can follow me at instagram.com/erinbunpaints. And if you're looking for my past tutorials, they're all right here on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any upcoming tutorials. You'll get a notification every time one is posted. All right, let's get scraping. Enjoy the tutorial. Okay guys, so again, I think the first bit is going to be mostly a little bit of talking, I guess, and then I'll start to actually apply things. So let's just, again, have a look at my demos here. Something I want to point out, you can change up obviously whatever you want. Think of your color palette, think of your order of colors. I can give you suggestions for orders of colors, which is what I'm about to do here. My suggestion that worked for me, and doesn't have to work for everybody, but worked for me, was working from light to dark. I really liked the concept of putting on a nice white base coat to begin with, and then going into each color just like little by little, so having a nice light beige on top of the white. Maybe moving into a darker kind of medium brown, moving into medium pinks, and then finishing off with some darker colors, which are my dark pinks, my darker browns, etc. I kind of divert from that step for the last step. The last step I usually do is I put white back on top again just to kind of split things up if I need. But otherwise, I think the general strategy is light to dark. If you like kind of the looks of mine, they were all light to dark. This one as well, even though there's lots of colors, I started with the beige, the teal. I moved into more medium tones of kind of this caramel brown, maybe some pinks, the lighter purples, green, and then you can see the darker ones like this purple right on top, this brown right on top, any darker pinks right on top. And then I'll do the purple here. Same thing, started white with this one. I did like a light gray, see these kind of light purples and grays in the background. I added those, moved into some darker grays, darker purples, finished off with very dark purples, dark gold on top. That was kind of my choice for the color pop. Let's talk about color a bit. I think another key to a lot of these paintings was sticking to a very, not a very limited color palette, but just limited color palette. I thought it was good not to overwhelm the canvas with too many colors. So I was just talking to Charlene about this earlier. I found it helpful to think of maybe 2 or 3 colors total, and then deciding that I would just work with different shades of those colors. So take this as example. I would say I really only have 2 to 3 main colors on here. If you want to count white as a color, that's one. I have like browns as my second, pinks as my third. And within those though, I have many shades of those, right? So I have white if you want to count that as its own color. The browns go from this light beige all the way to like caramel, all the way to dark browns on top. And then pinks, maybe you can see we have some lighter pinks, medium pinks, darker pinks, but all pink, right? So maybe think of it that way. You're going to have lots of different shades of color, but not as many like literal different colors, right? So if you're wondering about how many colors to choose, I think 3 to 4 is a good range. Depending on if you count white as one, maybe add white on there. But here's another example. White, if you want to count it. Grays, purples, gold was my pop of color. This one is maybe a little bit of an anomaly because I went a little wild with this one, but you could maybe break it down into like earthy kind of brown tones, again with the beige, golden color brown. I would say purples are in here, pinks, and then I guess greens you could say as well. So again, a little bit of an anomaly with this one, but I think this one's quite a different look too, so you can kind of choose which ones you like best. And then what else was I gonna say too? I'll think of it later. But yeah, colors and order of colors I think are most important. I'll look through if you have any questions so far. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Excellent, excellent. Cheers. The paint acrylic is Alyssa, yes. I have turquoise, blue, gray, and then bright yellow. That was what it was, pop of color. I'll get to that. Turquoise, blue, gray, and a bit of yellow. Would you suggest yellow last? Yes, yes. And I'll talk a little more about that in just a second, Brittany. That's a great question, and it spurred my mind to what I wanted to say. Hi, Malik. My spatula is hard. Should I run to the dollar store? Nope, Teresa, you're fine. You're fine. Oh shoot, I did not adjust for time difference. Will it be available? Yes, it's available for replay. When will we paint? In like 2 more minutes. I'm going to do one more topic here and then we can start painting. I think it's important with this one, guys, that I go through a few like ideas because I think you'll find it goes kind of fast when we go. And then that way, if you have questions while we go and questions about any of the techniques I talk about, you can ask them right away or while we paint. Pop of color was the last thing I wanted to talk about. Pop of color is really interesting because while I said before that we have lots of different like similar tones going on, and I should clarify too how all of these tones and colors are kind of similar areas on the color wheel. For example, kind of browns, you could kind of think of those as yellow oranges, very close to pink, which would be kind of red tones. These as well, we have like cool tones here. We have purples, blues, grays I would kind of consider more of a cool tone as well. But it's not a hard rule that you have to stick to that. I think if you want a pop of color that happens to be kind of opposite on the color wheel, it can look great. I would just do it last and minimally. And I think that's what happened here. See, I had lots of the same colors. They all kind of work together nicely so nothing gets muddy. And I waited till the very end to get gold on here. Gold is kind of like a yellow or orange, which is completely opposite of this purple blue, right? If you look at a color wheel online, and I'm also happy to help you with color wheel questions, yeah, they're opposites on the color wheel. So I just made sure that I applied the gold on a nice dry surface, and that way it didn't muddy up as it combined with the purple, and it just allowed the pop of color to stick right on top. Here is another example. I would say the pops in this one. We have some green here, which again I left for last. I guess like the pop would be kind of the darker colors in this one too. But again, we had lots of different colors in here. I kind of kept them separate and dry before adding the other ones on top. So maybe teal pink, for example. They're not super close on the color wheel. I just made sure to add those on a dry surface instead of wet on wet. So if you're doing things that are opposite, then just make sure you have a dry surface. If they're closer to the color wheel, you can do wet on wet blending. This one, there's really no pops. I would say the pops of color are more so just the darker colors, but nothing kind of out of the ordinary. So yeah. And is acrylic your preferred type? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, a minute, you don't have to. It's okay. Ask any questions you want. That's the whole point. I have no things for that painting, Erin. Oh, Christy, you can get them at the dollar store if you want. And again, you can like look, recycle bin. I think the recycle bin will be your answer, honestly. There's lots of stuff there. And then Alyssa, I love you interact and actually read comments. Oh, of course, yeah. That's the whole point, guys. Like, ask any questions, especially this painting. I think there's going to be lots of questions and like how things are going. Update me, and I'm happy to help. Okay, so yes, good question. Let's get into painting. Someone said, when are we painting? Now, we are painting now. So you can get your canvases ready. Get whatever size you want. I saw some of you say you have big canvases today. I'm just using a 16 by 20 just for demonstration purposes. But maybe you guys saw I used a huge canvas the other day. It took a little longer, so maybe keep that in mind. You might not go as fast as me if you're on a big canvas, but hopefully I can give you some steps and then you can kind of work on this as long or as little as you want, okay? Yeah. What makes acrylic your fave? It dries quick, you can go over top and fix things up easily. Easy to clean up, cheap, so many reasons. Hi Erin, I made it on time. Excellent, and too. We're just about to actually paint, so you're perfect timing. Alright guys, so first step that I do, I grab my Betty Crocker spatula. I just find it so funny that I do some of this with a spatula. And I like to do a white base coat. Again, not mandatory. I'm sure there are other ways you can do it, but I do like the white base coat first. So I'm going to just pour some white out. You can even pour it on your canvas if you prefer. It might be a little hard if it's vertical like this. Might be a little bit of a risk for me to do this, but I'm going to try it anyway. I'm only pouring it on the canvas because I'm just going to scrape it around anyway, and it's going to be a little easier for me to just have it kind of resting there, and then I can move it around. So I'm literally going to pour some, look at that, right on here. Again, you don't have to do this, you could scoop, but if you use a spatula, you'll kind of know that it's a little hard to kind of scoop things on there. Just literally laid it on. I'm going to use my spatula. I'm just going to wipe it up and down. Ooh, this is, again, this is like one of the most satisfying things I've done painting is using the spatula and moving things around. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You can see I'm starting to go vertical. I really liked the vertical look as you saw in my painting, so I like to kind of work vertically up and down. No reason though that you can't work side to side and maybe have most of your streaks going side to side. But if you like the look of my paintings, I would choose one or the other. I think that was another key, is that I kind of stuck to one orientation, either left to right or up and down. So I'm choosing up and down today. You can do whatever you want. And I mean, it's kind of a fun game because maybe you don't know what you want and you're just going to do this and then choose what way to hang it later. I know I kind of flipped my canvas around a little bit when I was done. I was like, do I hang it upside down technically, or like do I hang it on the side, you know? And it looked good pretty much every way, so that's kind of a fun little thing as well. So you can hopefully see there's lots of paint on here. You can see all of these ridges that are bouncing off the light. You saw how much paint I really went on, put on the canvas there. I do want a fair amount of paint so it's a nice wet surface. And I'm just kind of lightly scraping around too. If you scrape a little harder, it might kind of pull the paint literally off. There might be some left behind, but I am trying to like lightly graze. And then that way you can see there's some ridges, but we're just kind of spreading the paint around. Another easy thing to do if you have a spatula, if you don't want to be scooping up paint, you can just pour paint on the spatula and then carefully apply it. That's what I was doing as well when I was painting. So I'm going to give everyone a minute or two. You can put on a white base coat or a different color. You can put maybe any light color on. That would be a good suggestion. Or again, if you're feeling daring, do whatever you want. Use my technique of just like what I'm doing and then do whatever colors you want. So, and let us know how it turns out. This is going to be a fun experiment, guys. I really can't wait to see how all these turn out. It's the vid. Is that my big painting vid? Probably. I'm not going to click it only because sometimes when I open up a new tab, everything kind of freezes up, so I'm going to be careful there. But yeah. Oh, you got friends in the chat, Alyssa. That's always fun. I gave up teaching myself watercolor is what you said. Oh, okay. Lots of tutorials. I'm sure you can find lots of tutorials online. And I find practice is really a big, big key. I learned a lot from my good old friend Bob Ross here, who's just hiding off camera here. But mostly I honestly think a lot of it was practice. It was just kind of getting used to the paint, figuring out my own ways of doing things. Yeah, I would really suggest just keep practicing. I think that's my biggest piece of advice. Just a lot of patience. I'm going to pour a little more white on my spatula and wipe that around. And we'll go in with a new color. What color palette should I use, guys? Oh my gosh, I haven't even chosen. Maybe I'll do blues. I haven't done blues yet. This is scary. I should have planned beforehand what colors I'm using, but I was just kind of like, that's what abstract is. We're just going to kind of wing it. And again, usually I have for tutorials, I have a finished painting which I'm looking at and copying, and this is like, I don't have that, so welcome to the big test here. It's just a big experiment. It's like spreading icing. Exactly, Mish. It is so satisfying. It's so nice. I'm in love with doing it. That's why I made 3 of these my first time. I was like, I want to do it again. So I have to go. No worries, Malin. If you're interested in seeing this video, it'll be on Facebook right after I'm done, and then eventually on my YouTube page, youtube.com/erinbunpaints. You can check that out. And all my past tutorials are there in case anyone's wondering, so there you go. Sharon's ready, thank you. I will move on in like half a minute here. Want to make sure everyone's good, and also we do want this to be wet before our next step, so just so you know that. Okay, I better get a palette ready, because again, I did not plan ahead here. I think I'll do like blues, maybe blues, greens, and like brown or yellow, not sure. We're gonna see this. This is a fun test, isn't it? Okay. Maybe grays or something. I know I did purple gray, but that'd be nice. Some blue grays too. Okay, everybody. So if you are ready with your white, get your next color ready. How do you choose your next color, you're wondering? Choose any very, very light color. So if you have a color palette of, purples, blues, yellows, choose a light blue or a light purple. Any of those are fine. You don't need to do a specific color from those, just any light version of your color. Think of maybe what you want as kind of your base. My base here I would say is more of a beige color. So I have more of a, kind of have a mix on this one. So here's again an anomaly. We have both teal and beige as our bases. So you could choose 2 if you want to keep them a little more separate. This one I would say grays and purples, so you can start with either one. Okay, all right, I'm gonna move on just before our paint dries here. So I'm gonna mix together just a super, super light blue on my plate. In terms of mixing, I really just use my spatula. I'll show you if I can here. I'm just gonna pour my white in the middle. And it's just very messy. You don't need to like cleanly mix all your colors. That's another fun thing. So watch this. I'm just going to grab a little blue, tiny bit, because we want a really, really light color. Just going to messily put it in here. So it can be kind of marbled, you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be a clean new color. It's just very, very light and just mostly mixed. As long as you don't have any big blobs of like plain blue on your spatula, that's fine. You're just going to mix it up like that. I can't use volcano plate today, guys, because all this paint, I wouldn't be able to pick it up, so volcano plate's just beside me here. I can't use them today. So I'm choosing any light color. Yeah, I'll do greens too, Brittany. I really like blue-green idea, so I will do it next for sure. Taking light blue next. Any light color of yours will do. Again, light gray, light blue, green, light pink, light yellow, any of the light colors. We're gonna start scraping that on. Ooh, yeah. So once again, I'm trying to use a light amount of pressure, because if you use more pressure, you kind of saw here, it kind of doesn't leave a lot behind, right? It leaves a little bit of a ridge. But if you take a nice big scoop and then just lightly scrape across, you can see it comes off a little blobbier. And I like this one on wet to begin with, because I really like the look of it mixing with the white. Maybe you're not a fan of that. Maybe you want to let the white dry a little more, but I think it looks very cool to have it very marbled like this. You can really see all the streaks rather than just like patches of color. So this is why I started with the wet on wet look. It's just kind of like my base. In terms of where, you can see I'm putting it everywhere. I kind of, again, think of this as my base. So I'm really putting this light blue everywhere so that I will have some patches of white to really help see the blue, I guess. But otherwise, I'm really trying to really spread it wherever I want. You can see I'm playing around with the length of the stroke. I'm doing some nice big strokes like this, kind of letting it drag. Sometimes I kind of just touch like this. That'll give you some more ridges, as you see there. You can even play with the direction. I do kind of stick vertically like this, but I mean the direction of the spatula. You can like go on the side here. That might give a little bit of a different texture as you scrape. Maybe you're using kind of the edge of the spatula. All of those work. And I'm only really sticking with the spatula right now, guys, because it has a larger surface area, so I find it easier to cover with. You could at any point switch to another tool. I just find this one useful for the first few steps because of speed. Helps you apply it a little bit quicker. Okay, hopefully you're all getting what I mean in terms of the satisfaction. I don't know, Sharon and I, we get it. We're loving kind of the, or Mish, I believe, the cake icing type look or type feeling. like spreading icing all over the canvas. It's lovely, it's lovely. Yeah, that was Mish, like spreading cake icing. Exactly, exactly. So still very subtle. Again, it's very key in my opinion to go very slow in terms of color. I'm just doing a very light color to begin with. It seems almost silly to do, but promise it all stacks up. It all looks good all together at the end. All right, Sharon's doing 12 by 24 portrait. Fingers crossed, looks good. I'm sure it will do green. I'll do green for you. I'm so excited. Biggest painting I've done so far. Yeah, and guys, that scrape painting that I posted, that was the biggest one I'd ever done too. So that was kind of a first for everybody, I think. That was really neat. Just adding a little more. And that's a lovely thing too. Just go at your own pace here in terms of how much you want to add. You don't need to copy, of course, how much I'm adding. If you kind of like how it's looking just with a small little base of color, you can stick with that. You can apply this thicker. Again, if you'd rather not have as much marbling with the white, just grab more paint, lay it on nice and thick. It's all up to you. Or you can do two colors, like I said before. If you like more of this bold two-color look, you can do two background colors, whatever you want. I'm kind of doing it everywhere, though, personally. Sure, yeah, check it out, Malik. Yay, Alyssa's got friends. Welcome, Jessica. You're welcome, Christy. Ooh, you're all getting back into painting. Excellent. Trying to teach myself. Yeah. Yummy, I know. Makes you just want to lick it up. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that, but kinda. I want to. Mine's not sold the next hour, right? That's right. That's fine. If you like it pretty, keep going. And just remember too, easy to change up. If you're kind of thinking maybe you went a little too bold, maybe you're like deciding you don't like it, just throw more white on there, move it around. All good. You can even use the spatula to quite literally scrape paint off, pressing very hard. See that mark that I just left? Take the paint off. It's so lovely. You can just really do whatever you want. I'll be using a spatula in the future. Yeah, spatula for the win. How big can the side ridges be? However big you want, Terry. I would say mine are pretty big because I was using a lot of paint. Hopefully you can kind of see there. You can see quite a bit of texture already, and I only have the two colors, white and light blue. So there you go. Cherry, welcome into Twitch. Hello, how's it going? I'm doing a little paint scraping tutorial today. Feel free to watch, participate, whatever you want. I'm speaking to both Twitch and Facebook today, so I'll be chatting with both. Mine is super teeny wee. All good, no worries. Oh, it's got acrylic. Yeah, grab some supplies whenever you're ready, or just try with other supplies too. It's very cool. Exactly. Yep, you'll see. Check out the YouTube page, Jessica and Alyssa, if you feel like it. That'll show you a little more about my usual tutorials, just in case you're curious. This is a kind of a fun experiment today. Mine has become darker. No worries, Andrew. If you're liking it, that's most important. If you want to lighten it up, again, you can kind of like scrape paint off by using a lot of pressure. See that? I kind of removed it. Or you can just add white right back on top and kind of scrape it on top and move the paint around. The other thing, guys, too, I would say you don't want to scrape too much. You can see how I still have kind of streaks of blue and streaks of white. If I were to keep playing and keep playing and keep playing, this might just turn totally blue. And that's okay as a base for sure, but I just personally like the marbled look, so I'm going to try to stop myself, even though it's so satisfying. I'm telling myself that I have more colors to go, so it'll be fun. I found a smaller spatula works a bit better. Cool, cool. Yeah, there's definitely smaller width spatulas that would work for sure. I went with gray. It's looking like a zebra. Cool, cool. Okay, I'm going to go on to a new color, guys. I'm going to still do light colors, so if you want to do a second completely different color, again, not completely different, I'll clarify. Another color that's close on the color wheel. So for me, I'm doing a nice light blue. Green is right beside blue on the color wheel. It'll be safe to add wet on wet, so I'm going to start to do a little green. If you have a second color that is similar or close by on the color wheel, you can go ahead and start adding that wet on wet as well. I would still stick with your nice light tone of color, light shade, excuse me. Sticking with my light shades right now. But otherwise you can do a different color. Alternatively, if you'd rather just use maybe a slightly darker shade of the same color. Oh, am I still here? Yep. Hello. Here we go. Sorry, my camera just shut off for a quick second, I think. Yeah, anyway, if you want to use a different shade of the same color, that works too. So if maybe you're using light blue like me, you can also move on to a medium blue or like a just slightly darker blue if you want. Again, I'm going to choose green here. So I'm just mixing a nice very, very light green. I'm going to do like a bluish green, I think. Again, just keeping nice and light to begin with. I have 2 different sizes of spatulas. Perfect, Sharon, yeah. I think the more tools, the better. It'll kind of be a fun experiment for everybody here. Oh, you two know each other, Cherry and James. Cool. Yeah, I love it, Cherry. Cherry said this makes me feel like I'm staring at an iceberg. Yes, nice cool tones. That's what I'm going for. Excellent. It's gonna be so much fun. Maybe I'll get some tips for cake decorating. Maybe, Kim. No promises. I'm not a cake decorator, even though I've always wanted to be. I love the idea of creating like custom cakes and stuff, and I used to do that sometimes just for fun, but yeah, no promises. I don't know if this would translate on a cake. I wonder. So, just for an example, guys, I'm going in with this like minty green now, and I'm gonna start doing the same thing. No difference. Oops. Maybe when you were mixing, not sure if that's showing up well, you didn't mix fully. Maybe there's a little bit of color in there. So I mixed green, which is blue and yellow. There's a little streak of yellow in there. Your choice if you want to leave that. Sometimes it's kind of cool to have a little color marbled in there. I think I'm going to leave it. If it's a little too prominent for your liking, you can just kind of scrape it along and try and like mix it into the color. That's fine. But I kind of like those happy accidents, as Bob calls them. Look at that. You see that yellow kind of coming through almost by accident there? That was because I didn't fully mix the color on my plate, and there was maybe a little extra yellow pigment on my spatula. I like that, so I'm going to keep it. So it's the same idea. I'm just stroking these on. I'm using lots of paint, lightly applying on the canvas so it kind of grazes along, and we're just stacking on the paint. Still nice and wet here. Thanks, I'm going to add some white paint. Yeah, perfect, Angie. If that's what you're feeling, then do it. And just remember, guys, too, if you're using, hopefully you're using acrylics and not oils, James. If you're using acrylics, it's very easy to change things and cover up things. You can either apply wet paint right onto the canvas to help kind of mix as you go, or you can let things dry and go right over top. Drying time for this will take a little longer than usual just because we're using such a thick amount of paint. But honestly, it wasn't too long when I was doing these other ones. I was finding maybe 15-20 minutes, so by the time I was moving on to darker or different colors, I was good to go. So if you're really in a panic mode and you're like hating what you're doing, you could always just let it dry and go over top again, try again. At any point, really. Give yourself a little break here and there. Okay. This is such a scary experiment for me, again, not having a plan, honestly. But it's fun, it's freeing, it's good. Heather, so happy I found this. Really enjoying, excited. Heather from Nova Scotia. Oh, welcome, Heather. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm excited you found me too. Do wash spatula or keep color on? Oh, good question, Brittany. You can do either. I would expect that you don't need to wash it off if you're using colors similar to each other on the color wheel, which I think you should be at this point. So, for example, I went from blue to green. I was mixing blue and yellow together anyway to make a nice green, right? So it doesn't really matter if I had a little light blue on there. And same idea if you chose to do maybe a darker shade of your current color, same thing. You'll probably be using the color anyway, so it's not a huge deal to wash off your paint, your palette. Not palette, your spatula. I would say you only need to wash it off when you're doing an abrupt change of color, which again, I don't think we should be doing quite yet if you're following my techniques. So for now, I would say just keep using that same spatula, no need to wipe it off. I would say only wipe it off too if maybe you find that there's like too much paint hanging on here. Maybe it's like affecting your scraping a little bit and you're not getting what you want. You can give it a quick little wipe. I wouldn't worry about like completely cleaning it or anything. I have pink on a blue. Is that a good option? Emit. Those are a little bit more opposite, kind of red and blue. It's not totally bad though, because pink and blue mixed together, you'll get a nice purple actually. So as long as you don't mind purple hanging around your canvas a bit, you can go for it. That's a good point actually, Emit. Even though those two colors aren't close together on the color wheel, they make a nice in-between color. So if you were working with blue and then you added yellow, you'll just get some green if they mix, and that's totally fine. Just be aware that you might have a third color popping up. What goes with teal? Bev. So teal is kind of like a blue-yellow tone, so you can go over to the yellow side, you can go over to the blue side. I wouldn't go too far much over than those. You could even go green with teal. You can mix a green kind of like me and mix that in there too. Try those. Should we keep leftover paint or use it to make the next color? On your plate, you mean? You can use it to make the next color, Terry. I would use as much as you can just to prevent waste for sure. Love the colors. Thanks, Alyssa. Love doing this. I know, right, guys? Oh, it's so satisfying. I mean, very worst case scenario, I fully don't think this will happen, but if you absolutely hate what you make, at least you had a satisfying time scraping, am I right? Like, this is just so soothing to me. I'm still going with green, guys, just for context, so just so you know. Grog, I'm painting, I'm excited for you, Grog! Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see. I'm just picking up little amounts of green, still adding it. Yum, so tasty. I know, right? Honestly, it looks really tasty. My dad was discouraging when I said abstract, but I'm so excited for moving on. Yes, do it, Brittany. I'm in love. Thanks so much for doing this. Of course, of course. I'm excited you guys were excited. I really wasn't sure if you'd be into this. I just kind of posted what I made it just on a whim to see what everyone thought of it. And yeah, the response was overwhelming. You guys really encouraged me, if anything, to teach this. I was kind of like, well, you can see I'm not really teaching step by step here. I'm just giving a few general techniques. And I was like, I don't know if I want to call it a tutorial and like, you know, lead people to think that I know exactly what I'm doing, because I don't. This was a big experiment, right? So I'm really glad you guys told me to try it out with you. There you go. My paint is drying faster than I'm getting it on. Ooh, that's interesting, Vanessa. You might just need more paint, honestly. You might need to just pour on more paint. Mine is still pretty wet, and it's been going for like 10-20 minutes here, so just maybe a little more paint. You saw I really poured it all on. Try that, try that. Maybe even a little bit of water would help. Yay, Fat Rat, what are you painting? I'm painting an abstract painting today, Fat Rat. I'm doing kind of like a general tutorial for everybody, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not sure you can work with cakes, Erin. You would get too stuck on the I know. I'd eat it all. I would eat it all. Nate's here. What's up? Good timing, Nate. I'm actually painting today. I'm not going to sign off in 2 minutes like last time. Welcome back. I'm doing an abstract painting tutorial. Thanks. I'm doing fantastic because of that. How are you, Nate? Lydia, excuse me, I used white base and added light blue, then dark blue and added red. What other colors should I add? Purples would be lovely with that. You could even go to maybe oranges or greens. Those would be nice as well. Just be a little careful with those next ones though. They might mix a little bit with the other colors and make a little bit of a muddy color. So maybe even just give yourself a break, Lydia. I think that might be good here. So satisfying. Are you keeping your colors completely separate or overlapping? Good question, Sharon. I am overlapping. I'm really not looking at where my blue is. I'm simply adding the green wherever I want. So I am kind of overlapping, and because we're using similar colors, I find it works well because it just allows you to get even more colors in here, right? You'll get kind of green blues or just in between, so it's all good. Okay, I'm going to continue on. I'm still using the same kind of general ideas though, okay? So I'm just going to make now more of a medium blue tone. Need a lot more white in here. Too many things to hold. Yay, I'm good. Just got home from work. Good to hear, Nate. Enjoy. You can enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, what you got left of it. What have you been playing recently, dude? I'm still working through The Last of Us, man. Ugh. Need lots of breaks in that game. It's very overwhelming. There's lots going on. It's very spooky. Okay, so I made a slightly darker blue again. I'm trying to go nice and slow here just to really show you how many shades I use. So this still looks pretty light, but I promise it's a little darker than what I had. I'm even gonna add just a teeny bit more, just a teeny bit. Because I love all the different shades kind of working together, so I'm trying to really go nice and slow with it. There's my next blue, and hopefully you see when I put it on, it's just slightly darker. See that? It's popping off a little more. Same thing, I'm just going up and down with it. And I'll point that out to you guys, again, in all of my designs, I had very up and down kind of vertical looks. At any point, if you feel like switching it up and going horizontal, ooh, try it just to see how it looks. You can always go back and do it vertical if you want. But I'll let you know, what I do in the end is I kind of do some horizontal right on top at the very end. And I even do a little bit of like scraping, I guess little lines, kind of like slices. If you liked kind of these thin lines, I'll teach you how to do that. See how they crisscross? I'll do that at the very end. One thing that I'm kind of noticing too, Sharon, I guess, was asking, sorry about the microphone there. Sharon was asking, am I blending on top? Yes. I am still trying though to add only a tiny amount of pressure so that even though it blends a little, it still kind of rests on top. What I want to avoid is mixing all of these together and then creating kind of one solid color. You still want distinct colors, right? So even though Sharon and anyone else wondering I'm overlapping, I'm still trying my best to kind of use lots of paint. Whoops, I have a little too much blue there. Just gonna use lots of paint and then lightly scrape so that it kind of stays, you can see, more prominent, but it's okay if it mixes on the way down. Hope that's making sense there. And again, the marbled look there, that's because I'm not completely mixing the paint. Okay, I did white, light gray, light blue, light teal next maybe? Sorry, light teal. Yeah, I got you, Mish. I think that's a good choice. Yeah, that's good, that's good. I feel like a toddler. I feel like toddler exploring the paint. Ooh, yes, let's all channel our inner children here. Inner child. Young souls today. That's why I said, like, if you want to use some fingers, go for it. Oh, man. Okay. So I've been applying this everywhere so far. You can see I'm going all over my canvas. I'm kind of evenly distributing everything. That's just what I've been feeling. I would say with the next few colors, as I get a little darker, I like to start to choose areas to put them. So rather than continuing to scatter everywhere, unless you like the scattered look, I started to choose some spots to put them. Let me show you this as an example. You can see I have light and medium tones pretty much everywhere. But as I got darker, I did not put dark colors everywhere. I was starting to kind of choose where I wanted them. So my kind of punch of color, I would say, is right around here. I said, okay, I'm going to add darker colors only around here. Maybe a teeny bit sprinkled around, but mostly in a big section here. So as we get darker, just kind of think of that. If you want to do something, you know, more in the middle there, maybe like this one, I would say this one's more offset on just the one side. So I decided, okay, I'm going to keep it lighter over here and slowly move all the darker stuff over here. So that doesn't mean that only dark goes over here, it just means more of the dark goes over here. So there's still dark here, lots over here though. And I do that because I really like things a little bit more offset rather than symmetrical. Maybe you're more of just a symmetrical person or you just want everything everywhere. Totally fine, there's nothing wrong with it. But again, just kind of going back to my general looks of my paintings there in case you were wondering. I'll show that off in the next step probably. Right now I'm still going everywhere with this. Sometimes I like looking at the camera too and moving it around a bit. There we go, yep. I think we should do a finger painting together. That'd be very sad. Maybe I'll use my fingers just here. Who knows, Brittany? Who knows? Maybe I'll demonstrate, because I did say a finger could be used. And like this, that would give you a whole different look. It would give you like a kind of a different texture. Like, just why not? Just play with it right now. You know, you don't have to do a happy face, but you can do like a little squiggle. That might be kind of just fun to add, you know, just as another extra little element that's not quite anything. It's just kind of a fun little hidden thing in there. I'm just going to cover those up for now, but I'll probably go back. It's kind of similar to what I do later with my scratching or scraping, those thin lines. You can just do other designs with that. So there you go. Okay, I'm going to go into, let's do a darker blue just to kind of keep on the blues here. Again, keep switching between colors if you want. There's no, just the general idea of light to dark is what I'm following. It's not a necessary order of color here. It's more so light to dark in terms of the shades. Again, the only reason you'd have to worry about which colors in what order is if you're working with colors that aren't similar on the color wheel. So if they're opposite on the color wheel, you'll want to wait for things to dry up before switching to the other side of the color wheel. Right now I'm just doing grays or greens and blues, therefore I can just keep going between the greens and blues and just kind of making them darker as we go. Oh, Terry, good question. Should we get the edges? Definitely. If you want to keep those edges nice and painted up, complete, you can definitely just do the same technique all along the edges, just scraping along. Yes. All right, so just for demonstration, I'm going to go on to more of a, I would call this more of a medium blue now. See, it's getting a little darker. I'm going to pour even more white. There is a lot of paint used in this, guys, so if you feel like you're constantly pouring more paint, we're in the same boat. I'm still using the spatula. Again, if you want to try another tool at this point, feel free. There's no rule that says you have to do spatula. It's more so just because I like the bigger strokes to begin with. So this is going to be a little bit darker compared to what I have. So this is where I'm going to start to choose if I want to like offset things or if I want to put the paint everywhere. Again, I like kind of the offset look, and honestly it already looks like I'm kind of sticking more blues up here. So let's continue that trend. I'm going to keep more over here now. I will add some blues over here just to make sure it goes kind of everywhere, but maybe just in smaller amounts. But for the most part, I'm going to keep scraping over here. Ooh, yeah. It's so satisfying, my gosh. So I'm kind of choosing this corner, if anything. So I'm, you know, not covering everything up. I'm just basing all of my, or most of my medium blues over here. You can see I'm starting to scatter them a little bit as they come out, but you can hopefully see what I mean. They're all kind of grouping up over here. They're having a little meeting over here. These guys are coming over to the meeting. But yeah, they're all kind of in the corner having their own conversation over there. Again, I'll remind you, play with the different sides of the canvas, do some like thin streaks here and there, see that? That'll just get you a little bit of variety every now and then. You can scrape through the paint if you want to kind of separate it, create some lines, see that? Use the corner if you want, just like a lighter, smaller scrape here and there, okay? I'm just gonna add a little more of this color. Then I'll go back to my greens, I think. Again, that's really, again, very personal preference. I really like the offset look. A little more unbalanced, I guess is a good word too. Any other questions? Let me scroll down here. Lydia, I'm not sure if you're asking a friend there. I think you're having a conversation with somebody. Oh, maybe not. I used white base, added light blue, dark blue, red. Oh yeah, I suggested purple for you. And then Amit said pink. Pink would be great. Yeah, pink would work very well. And then your question was light or dark pink. Oh, I see. Well, if you're still adding some colors, I would stick with the light pinks to start, see how you like it, then you can always add some dark pinks on top. I think it's good to still stay with like the light medium tones right now. My painting was great today, but I stopped for the day because I didn't want to overdo it. I think that's a good choice, Surfer. Yeah, I find that hardest to know when to stop, honestly, so I'm glad you were able to make that distinction. Play with the amount of paint you're using. I mean, try piling it really high up. Like you can see I made a big blob on my corner there, and just lay it on, just let it be, you know? Try with a lighter amount of paint. You'll see with less paint it kind of leaves a little bit more texture, like right here. We'll be getting more into this kind of stuff later. If you really like this kind of dotted look here, see how it kind of dots off a bit, it kind of separates as it goes. That's something I do later, but if you want to do that now, you can easily do that just by using less paint and then lightly kind of scraping across like this. That'll happen better as well in drier areas rather than wet. If you're going in wet, it'll keep kind of coming off a little more smooth. So that's why I kind of leave that technique for later. Okay, keep taking your time, go at your own pace, guys. I'm going to move on to maybe a darker green now. I'm done before you. Yeah, it's very possible. I bet some of you are going to whip through this, and I just love the idea of doing this for like a while. Again, that big painting, maybe you guys don't know, that took me 5 to 6 hours on the floor, and that was purely because I was having such a good time. I was just like, I'm going to keep painting here. I really like what I'm doing, and I just kept adding color after color. I changed some shades around. I overlapped a bunch of stuff, so that was just me being me. I was just having a good time. You could probably do this in like half an hour if you wanted. But I like taking my time and kind of considering all the colors and what I want to add. But yeah, if you feel comfortable with it, you can easily get this done pretty quick. Neon pink. Ooh, neon would be cool. Neon would be cool, actually. If anyone's thinking of doing neons, I think that would be best at the end. I think Brittany was asking about that earlier. I think that would be good as like your final pop of color, so consider that. I have so many different textures now, no idea how. That's beautiful though, Brittany. I'm a big fan of texture. Oh my gosh. If you have lots of it, it's like bonus time. Yeah. My abstract painting a white canvas with a splash of chocolate ice cream. And Balmy, it represents the fact that people are good, but the thing is, their bad side selling only for $999.69. Do I underprice it? Should I get that price on it? Balmy, you value yourself and you price it whatever you think it's worth. Of course, of course. I've got several dots. I leave them though. Love them, you mean? I love the dots. I love the dots. I live for the dots. I live for the texture. That'll all be coming later when it's a little more dry. Add some texture. Life's here. Yeah, Groki's painting. Yes! She's painting along abstract. Here's my next green, guys, just for reference. I would still call this more of the medium. It's getting a little darker range. So you can see I'm progressing from my lighter to darker colors. Same thing, because this is quite like a punch of color compared to my light ones, I'm not going to add quite as much of this, and I'm going to try and like think of an area I want it. So I could add it amongst my other area of blue if I want. I'm going to do that. But I think what I'll also do is kind of shift it a little more too, just so it's not completely covering and overwhelming my blue area. I think I'm going to move this like more in the middle. Welcome back, Life, by the way. How are you feeling now? Did you end up doing your stream, by the way? I've been online this whole time, so I haven't been able to see. I'm in the middle of my tutorial now, clearly. And yeah, that's a dark color, so I'm not going to add too much of that. I think I'm just going to actually really stick to that and maybe just do a couple quick little blobs elsewhere. See, this is what I mean. It doesn't mean you have to stick to one area. It just means most of them are in one area. Again, they're all kind of hanging out. Their buddies are coming to join. They're just not quite there yet. And because there's less, I'm trying to use more of the edge of the spatula too, so that not as much comes off. I really like sticking to the edges sometimes too, just kind of scraping along the sides. So try your best too. I think one of the easy things to do is like adding too much. Those with a too much gene, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, I love this color, let's add it everywhere. When we get kind of darker like you see me doing, I try to really pull back on that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stroke like 5 times. I'm going to see how it looks. And by see how it looks, I mean like step back. See how it's looking. Is it looking kind of cluttered? Do you like that it's offset like you see here? Do you want more? Make those decisions, but just take your time, I think, making those decisions. There's really no rush because there's so much paint on here. It will stay wet for a while. And again, there's no reason it has to stay wet either if you want more of the dry texture here and there. So I'll try and stick with that. Try and pull back. I'm trying to pull back a bit. How to calculate price of the paint? Price of the things moves to make the items times. Yeah, you're right. I like the last little equation there, Balmy. It's good. Who else is here? Alyssa, I'm seriously only watching and feeling my anxiety flowing away. Amazing. If that's what it's doing for you, dude, you don't even have to paint along. Perfect. I love it. That's what I get when I watch Bob. I just kind of like float away a little bit. It's great. I'm done my color except the bright yellow. Do I need to wait for it to dry? Or I need to wait for it to dry, right? Yes, probably, Brittany. So if you're waiting for a color that's kind of like your punch of color and it's going to be opposite on the color wheel, definitely give yourself a little break. You can enjoy watching me paint or chat in the chat there. It's best to maybe give it a little bit of a rest before moving on to like a completely different color. If you're still just doing different shades of your colors, you're good to keep going. You can see that's what I'm doing. I'm still adding some little punches of color here and there. Still in my green and blue tones. I wonder if I should do some yellows. Yellow might be nice. Maybe like a subdued yellow. We'll see what I feel, right? I'm done, so bye. Amit, you're so quick! I'm glad you had a good time. I hope you had a good time, Amit. Thanks for joining in. Or if it dries, will I not be able to get the lines in the scraper? Oh, you'll get some scrapey lines. I have strategies for that for both wet and dry, so you can get some scrapey lines, no worries. Life, no, I think it's best if I just rest. Of course, I really wanted to do, but I don't think it's gonna do that. Yeah, do it whenever you're feeling best, honestly, yeah. Good choice. Two Shanes, hi again. I end up in a park, gonna do some pencil sketching and watch. Oh my gosh, amazing. That'll be so nice in the park too, Shanes. I'm glad you decided to pop in. So I'm just in the middle of my tutorial now teaching people how to do some abstract scraping. Why did I get some dystopian megacity vibes from blue and green? I don't know. I thought this was Icebergy, wasn't it? Or was that someone else who said that? I think that was Rally, excuse me. It's different for everybody. That's why abstract is cool. Everyone sees something different. Sweet, thank you. You're welcome, Brittany. Yeah, I'm just trying to decide if I want to add a darker blue. I kind of like the dark green as my kind of like darker color here, and I think I might go into some like yellow. Let's try that. I just don't want a lemon yellow, so I'm going to play around with what I can make here. Maybe like a very lime green. Let's try that. So again, you can see, guys, I'm moving on to like technically a different color. I was kind of talking to myself about yellow there, but yellow is great because yellow is right next to green on the color wheel, and yellow and blue make green. So if the yellow happens to mix with blue on here because it is still wet, I'm still safe. So just think of it that way. Again, just kind of consider where it is on the color wheel, and if you don't mind if it mixes with another color on your canvas, kind of think about what color would be made. If you need help with that, just let me know. If you're not sure what color might be made, I can probably let you know. So I'm on my plate here, if anyone's interested. I'm grabbing lots of yellow, grabbed a little white, grabbed a tiny amount of blue, or even just kind of like the green I had remaining, and I'm kind of coming up with this nice lime green now. I'm going to try that just to see how it looks. So apparently on my, yeah, see, here's a good thing. Here's my spatula. Even though I said you don't need to wash it off each time because I'm using similar colors, it's getting overwhelmed. There's blue, there's green, there's white. I can see almost like every color on there. So now is a good time for me to give it a quick wipe. I'm just wiping it on a towel beside me. Maybe a little more than that. That's good enough. So then that way it won't be overwhelmed with color. You can see when I scraped there, a bunch of colors came off, which is okay if that's what I like, but I kind of just want to concentrate on my lime green right now. So I'm just going to grab that and start moving that around a little bit. And I especially like kind of stacking same or similar colors on top of one another, so you could even kind of seek out like I am. I'm seeking out kind of light greens and then stacking on the lime green on top, because I know those will mix together nice, right? It's almost like you're like progressively making it darker in those areas, so try that. And I don't think I'll add too much of this lime green. I think it's quite an electric color, and I just want to add little bits just to add yet another, you know? Man, I kind of want to go back to beiges too. I feel like I use beige in most of these scrape paintings, but it's just such a nice color. I don't know. It's kind of the yellow tone, so it would work, I think. Yeah, alright. Let's check in on how people are doing. Can we get that masterpiece to some museum and take a whole all dedicated for only that painting? Sure, if you want. I don't really either, honestly. If you'd like to bring it to a museum, I'm happy to. Sure, if you find a museum that wants it, go for it. But for some reason, I feel like they'll say, huh? I think it's special for me, but I don't know what a museum will think. Sometimes I at the museum paintings too, though. To be fair, I go, what? So I can only expect they'd see mine and go, what? Okay, would you mix metallic colors with this? Kim, I think it would be maybe a little safer to try and put those on top of a dry surface. I would mix them on in terms of like adding to the painting for sure. If I had some metallic silver right now, I would love to add that. But I probably wouldn't do it right now because I'm worried how the metallic would look with the regular acrylic paint. So I would just make sure it's dry before scraping it on, and then you're good. Tara, I got carried away and rushed. Now I have a masterpiece, but I like it. If you like it, then it's yours. It's not a masterpiece, it's a masterpiece. Or if you want to call it a masterpiece, that's what it is. And that's kind of the beauty. Yeah, I wouldn't say you got even carried away then. If you like it, that means it's great. You don't get carried away at all. All good. Oh, it seems like some of you are in the same boat. Maybe you mean by carried away, hopefully maybe you just mean like you put more colors on a little quicker than me. I don't know, or added more color. Either way, if you like it, that's the whole point. That's the whole point. Do acrylics have many fumes? Nope. They're very safe paint. I don't smell a thing. Even if I give it a sniff, I don't smell a thing. There you go. I wish I have a back button. I have a huge mess of paint. And your back button is kind of your spatula. If you want to use that to scrape things off, you can kind of do that, or even use paper towel to kind of scrape things off as well. So try that if you're thinking it's looking a little messy. You're welcome, kid, no problem. Although I was referring to that, this is better than the Milovich black square, my personal opinion. Is it quite literally a black square on a canvas? That's what I mean by sometimes I go, at paintings. I coated with a light silver metallic in the bottom. I'm rebelling. Ooh, Groke. Oh my gosh, not following rules. So on Twitch, everybody, Miss Groke says she coated with a light silver metallic on the bottom. I'm assuming you like it though. She's like, I'm rebelling. Big smiley face. So I think she's liking it. So there you go. If you want to try the metallics, do it. Do it. I really want to add more paint, but I know I can't. Brittany, isn't that the hardest part? If you're at a stage where you want to do a completely different color, just hold, and then you can add it on top. You can still keep messing around maybe with other colors, but keep in mind that'll mean you're continuing to make it wet, so your choice. You're welcome, Andrew. Okay, let me think a little bit more about what I can do here. I wonder if I should add like a completely different color just to show you guys that. You know what? How about I show you a different tool? Why not? We had 2 tools today. I've been using my spatula this whole time. Let me show you the palette knife. Maybe you have a palette knife, maybe you have like a plastic knife or something like that. A business card would be more similar to this as well. It's a little more stiff, I would say, and like a very thin edge rather than the thicker kind of rubber edge. So let me just show you what that looks like in case you're wondering before you use it. I just need to choose a color. Let me give it a quick think here. Don't think I want purple. Got greens and blues. I keep thinking of yellows and like beiges and browns. What else do we have? Red, probably not. Maybe like a pink, no. We don't really have a turquoise in here. Maybe turquoise would be cool. This is like kind of the green version of turquoise. Let's try mixing something on here. You can use a palette knife to mix, by the way, as well. You can just kind of take some blobbies of color. Use the palette knife to kind of scrape and mix around. This is more like I find people with oil paints do this, and I find this so satisfying too. So feel free to try that if you want to feel real artistic. Ooh, yes, using a palette knife to mix. Ooh. Just trying to mix kind of a teal color, just to show you maybe a little bit of something different here. I think I'll use a little bit of white. And again, you don't have to fully mix if you don't want. You can keep it kind of marbly. I'm trying to mix a little extra here. A little more white. I added purple and orange to my blue and red and it looks awesome. Need to let it dry so I can add the pop of pink. Oh my gosh, those all sound so good. Those are good choices. Lydia. Purple and orange. And purple and orange are pretty opposite on the color wheel, so I think you'll find that one or the other really pops off and that'll be extra cool. I think it might be done. Mish, you might be done. I don't know. Give it a little rest, you can give it a little dry, and you can decide if you want to do some stuff on top. I still have a couple more tips for the end, but if you think it's done, it's probably done. Neon green. I feel like I kind of had the neon there, Brittany. I think I'm going to try the teal just for now. I think that's about as neon as it can go, honestly. I would need some literal neon green to add that. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what it's like to scrape with this guy here. So I'm trying to scoop on like this. And I find with this knife, again, you get more of this, again, I call it like the dotty texture. See how it looks kind of dotted here? It's because the knife is so sharp, it kind of like lifts on and off as it goes, I think. It doesn't quite like stick to the canvas as much and therefore leave a big blob. It kind of goes like, you know? So I'll show it that. Hopefully it works as I say it does. And I'm just using a light amount of pressure. Ooh, yep, there it is. Light amount of pressure and see what happened. I was trying to keep the same amount of pressure the whole time, and despite that, I got a lot of different gaps in there. I got all these little dots here, and that's because the knife kind of scraped against the little dots of the canvas. The canvas is textured, right? So it's going to kind of pull a little bit at the paint, pull a little at the knife, and just leave behind this kind of dotty look. It really brings out the texture of the canvas. Trying to see if that translates there. It's like all in there, on the sides. So just if you want maybe a different look, just to see kind of what that looks like, try a palette knife. Again, business card would be similar, old credit card would be similar. It might just kind of give you a different look of texture. You could use it with the same colors that you have if you're scared about adding a new color. There's another there. Each and every one I'm just like, oh yeah, look at all those dots, you know? Very fun, very fun. If you use even less paint, it gets even more dotty, I find. So you can even like dip into your paint, kind of wipe it a little bit. Let's go over here where it's white, maybe that'll happen there. And I'm pressing a little harder because I have less paint. And you can see how, once again, the dots kind of pulled off there. It's all the texture of the canvas pulling at the paint. Makes a nice sound too. I love it, I love it. So I'm going to do that a little bit with teal. Even though the teal looks pretty similar, I like the texture it's giving, so I'm going to keep adding. Rebel, I know she's a big rebel. There are 4 black squares and one of them is literally a canvas painted black. Yep, there are some canvases painted white and they sell for millions. I think there's history behind them though, to be fair, but yeah, it makes me go, Wonder how much the pea painting sold for. I don't know, look it up. I bet that's online somewhere. 250, oh, there you go. Fun fact I found on Wikipedia in 2015 while viewing the black square, heritage historians found that they discovered a message underneath. Oh, maybe that's why it's so valuable. It's like a hidden message. Interesting, interesting. Texture. Painted by Andy Warhol. What color for turquoise? Bev, oh, to mix it, I was using a little bit of blue. I would say lots of white if you want kind of a lighter turquoise like this. So lots of white, little bit of blue, and then an even smaller amount of yellow. The yellow is what makes it a little more turquoise compared to a light blue. Brittany, so I bought a palette knife from the dollar store and I'm realizing it's the smallest thing I've ever seen. Maybe should have spent a bit more on a normal sized one. It'll give you different texture too. Like, I would say this is pretty small too. It's not the smallest I've ever seen, but it allows me a little more control and just allows, once again, kind of a different stroke rather than these big ones. You can see I kind of get smaller ones. You can use just the tip. You can go up and down if you want. Oh my gosh, just experiment with all of this, guys. I find it smoother if you go up and down. So if you want more of a scrape, you want to use the edge, right? And again, because you're going up and down, you're using the full surface. You're kind of laying it flat, I find, versus if you're on the side, you're kind of using just the edge and scraping. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ah, Victoria. Blue, white, and a touch of yellow for teal. Oh, thanks, Victoria. Too much yellow is green. Exactly. It's like the teeniest amount. I like your paintings, Erin. Thank you, Christy. Thank you. Mine was thick and runny and kind of blended each other a bit, but I love it. Amazing. So I am honestly trying not to touch it a whole lot because I want to kind of show a little bit of dry, dry texture too. It's similar to, I guess, what I'm using with the palette knife, but I think it just becomes even more dotty if you're going on a very dry surface. I can even look around to see if it's a little dry anywhere. It is pretty wet everywhere here. Oh, it's just so satisfying. Yo, you can even try 2 colors if you want 2 colors at the same time. This kind of happened accidentally right there. See how it went from teal to that green? You could pick up a little bit of 2 colors, again, as long as they're close to one another on the color wheel. Try like 2 on your palette knife or your spatula, and then just scrape both of them. And it kind of creates a cool ombre. It's kind of a little more subtle because in the end a lot of your colors combine anyway, but look what happened. The green went into the blue. Ooh, so cool. So again, I think at this point, guys, it's like the too much gene. It's like, do I stop? Do I keep adding? I'm trying my best to like maybe scrape just little bits to distract myself, but in the end I'm right now trying to let it dry a little bit before I show you a few more things, because it does need to be dry to show you the last few things I would like to show you. Because honestly, there's not too many other techniques to this, guys. It's really just about doing what you like in terms of how you want to make it look, how you want to make it look, how you want to scrape it. Yeah, honestly, and just adding as much or as little as you want. Again, some of you even said, I think I'm done. You might be. You might be. Erin, if you think yours is small, mine is at least half the size. Really, man? I thought this was tiny when I first saw it, but I guess they're smaller. It's funny. What's going on here? I see lots going on Twitch here. Who made the one with the black lines and the red and blue square? I'll make one of those for a few million. 2 shades. I feel like there's so many of those that I see like all the time. I'm like, another one? How? Why? TTT. Wasn't going to do another one, but I did. Ooh, James, I can't wait. I think James is painting too. Painting, yeah. Could I use a cake decorating spatula, like a small metal one? Barb, I'm pretty sure that's like almost exactly the same as this. I think the only difference is it's a rounded edge, right? I think it's like more consistent and round, but I would say for sure it's metal. It has a very straight kind of thin edge. I think that would be perfect. It feels like I'm icing a cake anyway, so I would say yes. I will soon. Excellent. Saying I'll sell my chocolate ice cream on white canvas. The wrong side. Perfect price. 10 years it costs 10 more. Oh man. Good luck, Bobby. Really need to get some acrylic. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you're liking the oil life. Oils are just so new to me. Guys, I might experiment with oil paint soon, but I'm so nervous. Right now, also, by the way, I'm just kind of moving paint that's already on the canvas. So if anything, I'm spreading it out more to let it dry a little more. So I'm trying to help it. Little Wolf, hello, what's up? Howdy, howdy. Howdy, howdy. Just doing a little acrylic painting tutorial right now, Wolf. So feel free to ask questions if you want. I assume you're not painting along if you just joined in, but feel free to grab paints real quick if you want, or just, you know, enjoy the view here. Enjoy the satisfying scraping of paint. I think it's so satisfying to watch, honestly. I loved looking up just like demonstrations of this when I was kind of getting ready. It was very nice. On the big one you did, there's almost looks like stars. Is that just scraping or did you use black paint? Oh, good question. Stars, I'm assuming. I can pull up the photo if you want, and maybe you can direct me to what it is, but I'm assuming it's maybe just more of this stuff. And maybe I like kind of crisscrossed a little bit more for kind of like a star look, but honestly I did a lot of horizontal and vertical. That might be what you're seeing because I know I used brown for that as well. So maybe that's what you're seeing. Brittany, if you even want to send me a quick, I don't know if you have a photo of my big painting and you can like circle what you're talking about, then I can really see. And I'll let you know what it is, but promise I'm using the exact same techniques I used there. I think it's probably just those little kind of slices though that I just pointed out. Pop of lemon against one of the green? Sure. Let's try. I dragged my palette knife horizontally, it looks cool. Oh, nice. Nice Mish, oh my gosh. Yeah, I think it's kind of cool to do maybe a couple of those. Just, again, personal preference. It kind of turns into a whole different look if you do a bunch of horizontals. It's more of a crisscross look. And again, that's nothing wrong with that. You can do more and more. I just kind of, I think, again, very personal preference. I like the idea of most things going to one direction, then maybe a couple offset. It's kind of like the pop of color thing, right? Maybe just a couple offset, you know? Ooh, that yellow does look nice. Thanks for your help with my painting. Ooh. So again, yellow is very, yellow is used to make green, and that's why I'm comfortable adding this on top of wet greens here. And you can see I'm kind of looking at the lime greens, and I think that works well because now I have two bright colors kind of next to one another. It just kind of adds on to what I already have. It doesn't overwhelm it too much. I'm just adding little bits at a time. Going vertical with my palette knife and horizontal with my palette knife. Cool. Life, this is your painting. This is a very like lemon lime type painting. I feel you in this one. Yep, thank you, got it. Perfect. Okay, I'm trying to think of what else to say. Again, this is very odd for me. Again, usually in a tutorial it's like next step, and I feel like right now I don't have much more to say just for right this second. Because I am, despite adding these small amounts of yellow, I'm trying to make it dry a little bit so I can show you what I can do next here. Because next what's coming up is maybe letting it dry and then adding an extra pop of color if you want. There's no need that says you have to add something that's like completely out of the ballpark in terms of your color palette. Like right now I am sticking to a lot of my greens, blues, yellows, which are all similar on the color palette. If I wanted to move in opposite direction, I'd look at like reds or like a bright orange or a pink or something like that. And I don't know if I want to add that, but we'll see. I might use it just to demonstrate. Hard to know when to stop adding more paint. Put down the spatula already. I know, me, right? Like, no, but me too. Sharon's like, me, not you, but me too. I can totally relate, for sure, for sure. My hand slips, says Brittany, and I have a huge horizontal line across the entire middle. The yellow will cover that, lol. Yeah, plan ahead, or maybe you like the horizontal. Again, Mish purposely added horizontal and it was good. The dry down time and oils is intimidating. That's me too, Shanes. That's why I keep avoiding it. It's very scary to me. I like being able to go over things if I don't like them, so. Feels satisfying too. Don't take that out of context. It does though. It feels very satisfying. Don't be worried, I can paint and I just did. True! James has been using oils and it's worked out for him. Well, maybe it's watercolor. Oh, gouache! Ooh, cool. Yeah. There's those lemons. See, it's not like the color palette I'm using, those nice yellows and greens. I think it's so similar. Yeah. Yeah, James accidentally used some oils the other night and it worked out very well for him, so there you go. First time with acrylic pen, I like it even if it won't turn out perfect. Key, Grog. As long as you're having a good time, and I bet it's looking good. You said you're adding those metallics, the big smile, I think it's looking good. Little Wolf, what are you trying to make? This is just an early step. Well, I'm just trying to make anything abstract, so I was demonstrating kind of this idea here, just all these scrape paintings. I'm just trying to teach people how to get a little more comfortable with some scraping, you know? Again, this one's kind of the anomaly here with all the different, see, here's some greens and teals and I put pinks in here. It worked out okay, right? So maybe some salmons would be cool in here, who knows? Love it. What are the best acrylic painting tools for beginners? Supplies. Alyssa, if you're interested in attending my tutorials, I stick to very basic stuff. I'll show you real quick here just as I'm waiting for things to dry. Because again, I have a couple more tips for you guys if you feel like sticking around. Sorry, I have a large flat brush, a medium round, and a small round. I honestly think these are like the only three you really need. Some people like fan brushes. I do have one of those, but I never use it in tutorials just because I try and keep it simple with the three. So I just say like a couple different sizes of brushes I think is good. Any acrylic paint is good. You can find acrylics anywhere, including the dollar store if you want. Oh, shoot. I'll permit you, James, no worries. Dollar store has them. You can go to Michael's. There's lots of different price ranges. So really, I have suggestions for brands if you want. There you go, James. If you need any suggestions, I use the Start Academic Acrylic. It's a value brand at Curry's Art Store. But again, I would just go within your budget. There's lots of different types of paint you can use. Different, again, price ranges for acrylics. And otherwise, paint plates or paint brushes and a canvas, I guess. And you can even use paper. A lot of people use just plain paper or thicker paper and that works for them. They've used cardboard before when we were in the peak of COVID and like people, all the art supply stores were closed and stuff. People just went to their recycle bins. They're like, cardboard, painted on that, and it was great. So you can really use any of that. I added a neon splash of pink and it's awesome. Amazing, Lydia. I know you said you were waiting on that neon pink. That's so great. I went to Michael's and they had a beginner's pack. Oh, look at that. Okay, Brittany. It had white, black, blue, red, and yellow. That's perfect. That's what I use. And then I bought 4 paintbrushes. Amazing. Of course, I listened to Erin. I did a few classes with her and now I'm just looking up easy to paint things on Google. Great, yeah. Pinterest is great for inspiration as well. Instagram, I find, like look up any painting there and you can just exactly, like once you learn a few things, you might just want to try that. Just kind of replicating things and messing around on your own. So there you go. Oh, Miss, you're all done. Cheers. See you again. You're the best. I'll see you on Friday. I'll see you there, okay? All right. And yeah, guys, if anyone is leaving a little early here, I'll just encourage you again, post your photos. I'm especially interested in these ones just because it was such a different tutorial. The Facebook event page isn't open yet for posting, but I'll open it up right when I'm done here. So you can check that out and post your finished paintings whenever you're ready. I think I'm about dry enough to demonstrate maybe a pop of color here. Again, I'm not quite sure still what color I want to add. I was thinking of those salmons, right? Salmon color. Maybe like an orange. No, not an orange. I don't want red. Purple could be one. Purple's kind of in the cool tone though. I'll try a salmon color. Let's do that, like a peachy salmon. Just a few. Just a few. Oh, it was an accident. Oh yeah, I've had that happen too, James, where I put a period there. Punished. Michael's paints are better than dollar store small ones. Oh yes, Andrew, definitely. I mean, I always say dollar store just in case that anyone's on a budget, especially if you're just like playing around to begin with. I wouldn't want you to invest in super expensive paints if you don't know if it's what you want to do, right? If you don't know if you want to get into painting quite yet, so that's always my go-to suggestion, but for sure there's definitely a quality difference when you go from dollar store to art store. But I do find once you're at the art store, there's not really a big difference when it comes to price range of paint in terms of the quality. It's kind of, again, personal preference. I've gotten used to more of a liquidy, kind of watery paint, and some people prefer thicker acrylic paints, in which case you'll buy more expensive paints for that, but I think these are fine. Again, you can see they're not the thickest, but they do kind of pile up a little bit. And I find those are good for me, so I'm not too worried about it. I just, I grab my value brand at all times. 18 bucks for that big 2-liter jug. I have paint from dollar store, works great. See, it works great for some too, so use whatever. Charlene's here, hello! Hopefully Friday I can head up to the dollar store. Yeah, James, check it out. I think it's surprising to a lot what's there. Canvases are there too. Facebook is acting up, I had to jump over. No worries, Charlene. Welcome! It's Charlene. Hi, though. I was trying doing watercolor things. Oh, toying with doing watercolor. Yeah, you should. You should, little wolf. Watercolor's cool. Especially if you're kind of thinking of doing more abstract, kind of like this. I think it's pretty neat. Oh, excuse me. I did one earlier. Yeah, let me know how the watercolor, like you said, pencil brand too, worked out. That's kind of an interesting combo. Oh, one more here. Thank you. I had fun. Oh, nice. A lot of you are finishing. Look at that. In the event page, yeah, Mish, there's the event page for the acrylic painting tutorial. It's not open yet. You might be able to comment on my post, though, if you want to throw a comment in there. But in terms of making a post in the event page, I'll open that up when I'm done here. Hello from Mildmay, Ontario, close to Walkerton. Welcome, Kathleen. Michael's is great. Okay, I'll catch up in these comments in a second. I want to make sure I'm getting a few more steps out just in case anyone's waiting here. So I'm just going to demonstrate the pop of color now. Again, not necessary. If you want more of just like a nice cohesive look, this is great. I don't need to add anything. I just chose to show you what maybe a weird color would look like. Again, weird color meaning the color that's like opposite on the color wheel. So I have a lot of green, blue, yellow in here, so I would say green is probably mostly used. If I were to go opposite on the color wheel of green, it's red. So I'm kind of choosing like a peachy tone. Rather than using a bright red, I'm using kind of peach. Similar enough, right? It's going to be very opposite, very different. So for this, again, same strategy as my darker colors. I like to kind of choose a general area to stick to. I would say I add less of this color, and most importantly, I'm looking at spots that are not wet. If you have all wet spots, you want to maybe wait a couple more minutes. But either not wet or just white. I want to avoid putting this peach on top of things like green, which is the opposite color. It would make a brown if I did that. The blue on peach wouldn't be so bad. I guess yellow wouldn't be so bad either. I guess I'm just avoiding green. You want to avoid any opposite colors because it will quite literally just make brown if you mix two opposite colors together. So no real difference in technique, obviously. I'm just going to use this palette knife so that I'm a little more controlled, I think. Here I go. I'm just going to add a couple little peach splotches here and there. Trying not to add it on top of green. Again, here I am on top of blue. Not so bad. I think there's a little green on my palette knife though, which is problematic, so let's wipe that. I'm going to mix a little more. And again, there's no rule that says you need the pop of color. It's just if you want to get a little more wild and crazy, or you have a favorite color you still want to add. Again, maybe a room in your home has another color that you haven't added. Just add like a couple strokes. You don't even need to add that many. Just being nice and careful. Maybe I'll just keep a couple up there. I don't know. I think I'll make it a little lighter too. See how that looks. Do different shades. Once again, you don't need to do just one shade. I'll maybe do some lighter pinks, kind of like this. So I got kind of lighter peaches and darker peaches in there. What I'm doing there, guys, by the way, I'm just literally trying to move the paint off of the palette knife and then scraping it. Nothing fancy. I like the lighter pinks. I'm going to keep doing some lighter pinks, just a couple more, and then I'll read some questions, comments. Again, I really just wanted to demonstrate the pop of color in case anyone was wondering, and just noting that we don't want it to be on a wet opposite color. It can be on a wet canvas or a wet area, but Just avoid, for example, the green. Or whatever your opposite color is that you're using. It's a nice kind of in-between peach. Maybe I'll go here. And I think I want to add just a little more of the light peach. Let's try that. I think they're a little too spread out. I want to group them together a little more, so I'll bring them together with some light peachy scrapes here. Again, this one's kind of out of the norm here. It's a little different, but it's all whatever you want. And I think I might carefully add like one more in and amongst here, the green. I'm trying not to scrape it on top, just near it, just to kind of say hello. One more. How many times am I gonna say one more? One more. That's what I was looking for, just a couple of those, just to, again, not mixing on top. I'm going in between and just making sure if it's wet, trying to avoid it a little bit. Cool, I like that, I like that. Okay, here are questions. I see people in the aqua color. Oh, really? Cool. They're on lives in Erin's Discord. Yes, thank you. It won't work. Oh, no, I've got a Discord command. There you go. Alright, Facebook. Yes, and then, yeah, if anyone wants to post pictures, you can go to the Facebook event or Discord if you're on Twitch. Michael's is great, but I have since advanced to the giant tubs of paint from Curry's. Yeah, especially for paintings like this. If you're thinking of doing a few more of these, like, you'll probably need a lot of paint, so it might be good just to invest in that. I don't think you can post your picture just yet, usually. Exactly, Brittany, yep. I'm not sure if maybe you can comment on the live link. Maybe that's kind of like a little workaround, but otherwise I'll open up the event page for posting if you guys want to post later on. Is there a big price difference buying online? Alyssa, depending on where you go, I just haven't seen, other than Curry's delivery, I haven't seen those Start Academic acrylic bottles online at all. I've only been able to find them at Curry's. They might possibly be online, and I think it would be similar price ranges. I would just watch out for shipping, I think. With the weight of the bottles, you might get hit with some shipping there. I have to go. This was so much fun. You're welcome, Lydia. I'm glad you had fun. I can't wait to see your nice neon pink accent. Oh my gosh. Tell us the color mix, please, of the peach there. That was lots of white, some red in there, so that makes a pink color. And then if you want it more peach tone, it was just a tiny bit of yellow. How are you making salmon? Oh yeah, Terry, sorry. Lots of white, little bit of red, tiny bit of yellow. And that's more of like these, yeah. More white in this one, a little more red in that one. Love the peach. Thank you. So pop of color, use a knife instead of spatula. Not as satisfactory, but I'll do. You can do whatever you want, Britt. I was using the palette knife because it was a little more controlled. It's obviously a lot smaller, so that's why I was using that one there. It just allowed me to be a little more in control. I think I'm risking it a bit with my green being still a little wet, so it was beneficial to me. Yeah. Thank you. Awesome. You're welcome, Nina. Yeah, cool, everyone, Erin. Yeah, Amazon has good prices. Thank you, Kathy, for that suggestion. And I got free shipping from Curry's. Yes, if you buy a certain amount from Curry's, they give you free shipping, so that's good to note as well, Terry. Thank you. Is this on again? Grandma June, you're asking if I will do this again? I'm actually recording this, so you can actually view it later on YouTube when I'm done. It will take a couple hours to get up there, but youtube.com/erinbunpaints. I might have a command for that. Let's see. There it is. You can click that link. That was Grandma June. Check that out, and yeah, that'll be on there. It'll be kind of like the full tips and tutorial there, so feel free. You can feel free to watch along and ask any questions in the meantime if you have any questions that you think you'll have when you start painting. Alright, a couple more things I'll go through, guys, but in the end, I think a lot of you are kind of sensing when you're done you might not want to do too much more. Totally fine. Just want to point out other things I did on mine in case you're interested. So, I think I pointed out, but if not, I will. I found a nice final step in terms of color was re-adding white. And again, I think that's another personal preference thing that I really like, kind of the toned down looked a little more pastel. And I found just the last addition of white really nice because it helped kind of split up certain areas a bit more. It just brought back, you can see the brightness here, because obviously as you add more color, the white really starts to disappear. So if you want to bring back some white, I wouldn't be afraid to add that, or maybe like forget about the fact that you could re-add white. I think it is actually a really nice final step. I believe I did a little bit in here too, even though the gold, my pop of color, is on top. I feel like I did add a little bit of white here and there to bring back the white kind of in the lighter areas. Definitely in this one, I remember scraping the white like over here, for example, like on top of my background, places where there wasn't a whole lot going on. I think it's just easy to forget about the white because that's what we start with, so don't be afraid to go back to it. You don't need to do that now if things are really, really wet. I'll try and demonstrate here. It might not work out because I do have some wetness, but I'll try and show you just to see what I mean here. Oops, I'm going to pour white directly on my palette knife. Let's see how that works. You can use either palette knife or spatula. I'm just sticking with palette knife at this point because it gives me a little more control. It's a little, smaller. And I do honestly like the kind of scrapey texture it gives versus more of the solid blob. So let's see. Because to demonstrate, here's the thing. I want to go on top of a nice dark area, but it might still be wet. There's a nice one. So see that? It's the same technique. I'm just lightly grazing. But I find it just adds a whole different look. And it's not so bad if it's wet. I mean, it'll kind of marble and mix as it goes, but I think kind of the point of the white is to, like I said, bring a little bit of lightness back. If you don't want it to be quite as punchy, you know, you can kind of scrape some white on to kind of put the color backwards a little bit again. And the white can be a little transparent too, at least mine is. So again, it's not like you're completely just adding a white blob. It's almost like you're adding even more shades by adding white on top. So again, not mandatory. Some of you might like the very kind of punchy colors there, but try if you want. Try a little bit of white here and there if you feel like you have some dry spots, or even if you want to try marbling it on top, you can for sure do that. Who else is here? Wonderful. Yeah, Grandma, I hope you enjoy. Again, feel free to ask any questions in the meantime if you need. When is the Bob Ross repaint? Yeah, life. I don't know. I think we were talking about potentially doing the same Bob Ross tutorial that we did that challenge with, the audio only challenge, but redoing it with video. I'm sure we could do that soon. What do you think, Life? I'd be down whenever. I know we have a collaboration planned coming up, so we want to do that first, but not sure if we want to do a Bob Ross next, but definitely on our list, I would say, yeah. Good question, yeah. Whenever. So Life, if we were to theoretically do our initial kind of themed collab on Wednesday, I could probably do Sunday again if you want to plan for a Sunday. Because we don't have plans for next Sunday quite yet, right? So if you wanted to do that as our next Sunday collab, I'm down. If you'd rather wait a little bit, if you think that might be a little much in your week doing Wednesday and Sunday, then we can always leave it for the next Sunday or a weekday or something. I'm so down though. I thought about that painting a lot and how interesting it would be to see what it's like if I were to redo it with video and see what he's doing. Waiting for it to dry is torture, I know. You can see I'm just adding my white anyway, Brittany. I'm seeing how it works here. I'm just kind of lightly grazing on top. It seems to be working. It doesn't mix too much. It's getting a similar effect, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's quite torturous being like, I have a plan, but I can't do it yet. Yeah, this is a more wild one than my other ones in terms of different colors, and I'm really liking how it's going. So thanks for those who suggested. I think one of you shouted out the lime green or yellow idea. So there you go. It all works out. And you can see it's a lot of just going slow. If I were to pop all these colors on at once, it would become a muddy mess. Like the peach would not go well with most of these colors here. It would kind of turn very muddy altogether. So it's just about kind of order, I think, and just going slow. Yeah, thinking about your dry spots and wet spots. Haha, now why wasn't this one of my first? For sure, yeah. It's a nice little introduction, isn't it? a very satisfying introduction, and just like playing around. It really helps you just get kind of used to the paint and like understand it a little bit more. All good. You made it now, so now you know. Ooh, there's like some darker blues. That might be nice. Let's grab a tiny bit of just plain phthalo blue, see how that works. Oh boy. Oh boy. I don't want to overdo it with the colors, but at the same time, why the heck not? I'm just having fun. Like I said too, I mean, if at the very worst case scenario you come out with a blobby mess and you're like, I'm not hanging this, at least you had a good time scraping and you learned, and you can do a little less next time. I'm just gonna keep that much blue, that's it, that's it. Little bits, like so much. Oh, thanks Patricia. I still love the transformative nature. I know, that's why I wanted to post. I don't know if you guys saw on Facebook, I posted that speedy video of my 5-hour one, because I was so satisfied being like looking at all of it in 30 seconds. I was like, oh yeah. It's really the transformative nature in that one too. Looking great. Thanks, Lori. I'm going to do mine hopefully tomorrow once you post your tutorial. Perfect. Can't wait. Oh, DXZ, nice to meet you. Hello. Welcome in here. Sorry if I missed you there. It is on the list. Maybe our next collab after Wednesday. Yes, exactly, Life. I think that'll work out. Again, no rush. We could do Sunday, though, yeah. Thank God for Twitch from Facebook accept. I know, Charlene, right? I'm waiting for the finish of Life's painting the birch trees. Oh, were you doing a birch tree one, Life? Ooh, I love birch trees. Birch trees are the best trees. I love them a lot because there's lots of texture in them. Honestly, because they're all white and then you like scrape. You could use a palette knife for the black. That'd be so nice. Two Shanes, getting into drawing and painting is good for helping me get over my perfectionism. Oh, I can relate to that so much. I'm like an organization perfection freak, and painting is especially this. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. It really allowed me to be like, no more clean lines, no more like making objects or shapes, just colors only, and just like scraping. It's all good. Better video. Yeah, it is. Oh, Snoopies, thank you so much for the host. Oh, I missed Dimples the follow 37 minutes ago. Dimples, if you're still here, thanks for the follow. I don't know why my little alert didn't pop up. I'm so sorry. But thank you, Dimples, if you're still hanging around. Yes, I started. I was going to try and hop on today to finish, but didn't work out. Tomorrow when I get home, I'm hoping to continue. I'll tune in because I have a daytime stream and then I'll be available at night. Birch tree action. I'm down. Lori loves birch trees too, especially with fall scenes. Yeah, I'm just waiting for fall scenes, man. I'm just waiting for fall to come around. I love all the colors with fall. Okay, I've put down the spatula and the knife. I think I'm done. Thanks so much. You're welcome, Sharon. Put down the knife, put down the spatula. Okay, I feel like I just have one more thing to talk about, honestly. So if you're interested in the last little thing, again, another optional, they're all optional things, but especially because Brittany pointed it out. I think this is what you're talking about, Brittany, when you said the stars. These little scrapes here. Some people were asking about horizontal lines or horizontal scrapes. You can definitely just use the same techniques and scrape horizontally. But I found a little bit nicer, just more subtle, I guess, with these little like cuts. I'm going to call them cuts, okay, because they are kind of like looking like I kind of cut into the canvas. So two ways you can do that. Number one, you could use wet paint on your canvas and literally just use the edge. I would probably use the palette knife or any, again, credit card type thing, a little more of a sharper edge rather than the rubber kind of thicker edge. And you can choose any wet paint, literally go horizontal or vertical, and just move it kind of back and forth, trying to get a nice straight line. And you can see what happens is, hopefully you saw a little bit of that, your palette knife kind of cuts through the paint, so it leaves behind a little bit of a gap because it moves the paint away. It also kind of perhaps carries some of the wet paint to create a little bit of a ridge, so it's kind of beneficial both ways. You can do vertical if you want, and just pressing in. Try not to rip the canvas, of course, but pressing using the edge. Again, maybe you can see that subtle line there. So that's using just wet paint. Brittany was asking if it's dry, what do I do? What you can do there is dip the side of your palette knife into some color. I'm going to use blue. Guess I'm gravitating towards my plain blue right now. So you can see the side of the palette knife has some blue. And I'm just going to, same thing, kind of like drag like this, kind of cutting like that. So you can see that nice thin line. I'll dip again. And then I'll go this way. Once again, it's kind of like, see what the knife does. It might not do a nice solid line. It might be a little jaggedy. That's great. That's what I want. I want it to be a little more just abstract and random. I don't necessarily do one horizontal, one vertical at all times. Sometimes I do a couple intersecting. I think, Brittany, this is what you're talking about when you said stars. I'm gonna try and demonstrate. I do like a couple vertical, kind of in the same area. And then maybe a couple horizontal, either like just intersecting or close by. See here? And they don't all have to intersect. You can kind of make them off to the side or whatnot. See that? They're all kind of scattered. They're all similar area, just a little scattered. I would say you want to choose colors that are close to blob so that it kind of looks like the blob is moving into the scrapes. I do like that. So you can see how I kind of connected this blue blob, kind of moved it up so it looks like it's kind of creating these little cuts here. But that's not necessarily a hard rule. If you want, you could do just on their own. If you want to see, I'll demonstrate here. So it'll be a little darker and more prominent because the blue's all on its own, but it still looks nice. But yeah, personally, I think when I was doing this, I was kind of looking for spots that had, for example, brown, and then kind of like moving the brown down into the cuts. I guess that's a good example of the opposite, just no brown around there. But yeah, I feel like I was trying to kind of pull from colors and move them with the palette knife for that. So you can do that with any colors you want. I would say for mine, you can see I kind of gravitate towards the darker color because it'll show up a little bit better. And yeah, so maybe I'll do that with my like blue-green color just to keep demonstrating for you. It's very cool. Thanks so much, Kit Kat. Snoopies is here. Hey, look, Snoops. How was your sleep? Did you have the best sleep ever? You've been sleeping this whole time? I wouldn't blame you, honestly. Yes, thanks for sharing a note. Hey, howdy. Starting a volcano plate? No. This is just for the scrape paint. I feel like I'm betraying my volcano plate right now, but it's simply because I wouldn't be able to scrape paint off of that huge mound, so that's why I'm using a different plate today. This is like my scrape painting plate. This was all peaches and pinks before. But yeah, don't worry. Original volcano is still here. I guess it's kind of starting a new one, but no, I'm keeping with the old one for sure. Okay, so still cutting, guys. Still doing that same method, just using some like greenish color now, green-blue. Maybe interrupted. Yeah, life's got me covered here. We're on the Flat Island plate. Yes, good name. Flat Island, boo. I want my volcano. Didn't sleep that long. Really? I'm shocked. Nita, I actually see some people in your painting. Cool, someone else said that too. They saw some like people in the teals or something. Oh, Kathy, sorry. Yep, well, I'm scraping the lines now. There's a lady in a green dress. Whoa! Where, Nita? Where? Mine is still wet. Brittany, you can do some scraping if it's still wet. If you want to do some, I should say, cutting rather than scraping. My first time painting with you, I was scared to scrape, so I used brushes. Love how it turned out. Amazing. I'll scrape next time. Thanks. No worries. Dana, I'm sure you could do it with brushes. Clearly you did, obviously, and it worked out. I just find there's like less of the dotted texture. I was talking about kind of that dotted dry texture. I find it's harder to obtain with brushes. I'm sure it's possible, but that's the only reason I did like the straight edges. You can see it's a little more, again, you get more of the quite literal texture because it kind of pops up and down off the canvas as you go, versus the bristles are all kind of very, you know, tight to the canvas, so they create like flatter strokes, I guess, rather than textured ones. But yeah, I'm glad you tried it out. I'm glad you took the risk today. Alyssa, this turned out so magnificent. Thank you so much. I feel like I could still add some color, but once again, I do kind of like the white. I think maybe what I need is white kind of in here just to break it up a tiny bit. Let's try that. Let's try that. Why the heck not? And again, I am going on wet here. I usually wait for it to be dry, but if you don't mind a little marbling and a little mixing, this will work out fine. Let's split it up a little. I think maybe I want actually to re-add down here. And that's the great thing. You can go back and re-add. no rule that says you're not allowed to go back, right? So if I want a little more color, I'm gonna add it. I'm gonna re-add it. No shame in going back and being like, well, I gotta redo it again. Do it, that's what you're feeling. Press hard, press light, man, so many options. Okay, now it flips me back to Facebook. Charlene's back, cool. Brittany, I made the lines while wet and just scraped the paint off. Okay, looks great. Still waiting to add my yellow and white to finish off. Yeah, I think it scrapes off. That's kind of what I did in here. You can kind of see the gap there. If you do it like a little bit here and there, as long as it doesn't scrape all of your hard work off, I'm sure that's fine, yeah. Isn't it cool too, like as you're going, you're experimenting, you're like, all right, that worked, yeah. And then you're like, okay. It's really not that scary. Again, if you remember that you can always go back or cover up or re-add, just keep remembering that. It's all good. Missing this one corner here. Needs a little something down there. Come on. There we go. That's a little better. Came in late, but looking forward to doing this one tonight. Excellent, Patty. Excellent. Oh, don't scrape her. She's right there. Where, Anita? Where? Don't scrape the lady. Where is she? I want to know where she is. I don't want to scrape her away. I'll stop. Looks great. Sorry I missed. We'll do this one later. No worries, Jennifer. No. I'm going to sign off very soon here, I think. I think a lot of people finished way quicker than I did. So I'll just kind of stop scraping because I don't want to scrape the lady away. And I'll see if anyone has any final questions, or if anyone thinks I was missing anything like that they saw in my other paintings, just let me know. But this is honestly like my just basics that I learned. Again, I'm no way saying I'm like a pro at these abstract, you know, scrapey paintings here. It's just what I learned from like the first few times doing it, so I hope it helped you guys. Yeah. How long have you been painting? Erin says 2 shades. Honestly, like pretty much as long as I can remember. When I was super young, I watched a lot of Bob Ross before I even painted, and that really helped. I would say I started, I was kind of introduced to paint maybe like grade 4 or 5, just in, you know, art class and whatnot. We always had a week in school where a local art teacher would come, and it would be like a whole week of just art classes, and it was always my favorite, and it was like watercolors and pastels and all the good stuff. So that was when I was first like introduced to it. But I would say more seriously, I've been painting for like 6-7 years, like pretty consistently. But even before 6-7 years, I was doing it as a hobby. So just like, you know, if I wanted to make my grandma a gift for Christmas, I would paint her something. Or if my parents wanted a painting for their laundry room, it's a real story. They wanted a painting that matched like teals. It was like teals and grays and stuff. They gave me a little reference to use, and I painted one for them. So like every few months I would paint something just for fun. But over the past 6-7 years, it's been like pretty consistent with acrylic. So kind of a long-winded answer, but you know, technically all my life, technically 6-7 years. Yeah, anywhere in there. But yeah, lots of practice. Let's see, Charlene, hey Erin, 2 purples, white, gray, and gold, and some red and a teal color. Is that your color combo, Charlene? That would be cool. Purples, white, gray. The gold is pretty much what I had on my others, and then some red and teal. Is that what you're asking about? I'll just kind of show you if that's what you're wondering here. I didn't have teal. You can see maybe a tiny bit of like a blue, but I feel like that's kind of blue-purple tone. And again, that red was like almost accidental, but I just kind of kept it there for fun. Teal would be a neat addition to this because that's kind of the blue realm as well. So can't wait to see. You're welcome, Andrew. I hope you had a good time. Have a nice evening as well. Is it possible to do a marble type drip paint with acrylic? If that doesn't make sense, I'll try and find a picture. Brittany, is that when you like lay the canvas flat and you put marbles on it and they go, you move them around and they move the paint around? I think it's possible. I think you might want to liquefy the acrylic a little bit, depending on how thick yours is. If you're buying the same as mine even, it's thinner, but I would still water it down a little bit. And I think that would work, yeah. Bye for now. See you next week. See you next week, Andrew. Looks great. Thanks, Kim. Alyssa, when are you usually live and what time is it there now? Right now, I'm in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, Alyssa. It's 7:53 p.m. Usually I do tutorials on Fridays and Sundays, so I'm live like Friday night, probably like 8 p.m. Sunday. Yeah, I started at 6 p.m. today. For tutorials, I always post Facebook events, so you can always plan ahead to watch me. So for example, that lily pad painting I was showing off here, this will be for Friday night. I haven't decided what time, but you'll see a Facebook event in the next day or so on the Facebook page displaying this painting and telling you what time I'll be live. If you want to watch me on Twitch, I'm on Twitch all the time. Twitch will back me up here. I've been live for, 7.5 hours now, so I started around, what was it, 12 o'clock? Yeah, 12:30 today. I painted like all afternoon, and then I popped on for the tutorial, so I'm on a lot. And usually it's every day except for Tuesdays and Thursdays. I said Twitch back me up, and I see that she's never on. She's never live. Are you okay, McSniffies? I'm on all the time. For like 6-7 hours at a time. Yeah, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturday, Sunday. And I would say most often from like 10 to 3. It's usually like in the middle of the day. Later morning and then afternoon, sometimes evenings. It kind of mixes up sometimes. But what I try and do is post my schedule wherever I can. So if you know what Discord is, Alyssa, I do my Twitch schedule in Discord. I usually write my Twitch schedule on Twitch as well. I'm really stuttering today. Twitch.tv/erinbunpaints. Twitch is a live streaming platform. I'll link you right here. It's just a live streaming platform. It's mostly known for gaming, like live streaming gaming, but I do art on there. There's a nice big art community on there, so what I do is I just like set up my camera, I just have fun painting, I just paint some personal artwork, I create tutorial paintings on there, and then what I do is I teach them on both Twitch and on Facebook Live. So if you're more comfortable with Facebook, you can check out all the tutorials on Facebook. Those are all coming up. Twitch, I'll catch up on your comments in a second. What are you doing? Carol, love your idea. Thank you, Erin. You're very welcome, Carol. And do you have any idea what we are... Oh yeah, and I was just showing it off here. Maybe you missed it. Yeah, you did. You were a little late for the start there. This is what we're painting on Friday. I don't know what time. Probably 8 p.m. That's usually what we do. Charlene, thanks, Erin. This is different for sure. Nice to do something different. Still love our regular paints. Of course. Don't forget to eat. I won't. I had a nice big snack before this, and I'm going to have a nice big meal right after. Don't worry. We'll send a pic. See you next Friday. Have a good week. You too. Normally like Fridays and Sundays. Thank you, Brittany. Yes. Exactly. It's usually like evenings, and it's really up to you guys too. I'm always asking what you guys prefer in terms of tutorial times on Facebook, so if anyone has suggestions for different times, I'm always open to it, but I find Fridays and Sundays work well. I usually do 8 p.m. Yep, Terry's requesting 8 for Friday, I believe. That's pretty consistent. It's more Sundays that I play around. I'll do I did 12 noon the other weekend. I did 4 p.m. at one point. This was 6 p.m. But I always announce them all so you can plan ahead. I'm going with the yellow. It's still wet, but we shall see what happens. Yeah, as long as you're not mixing it on top of like a purple, you should be fine. Purple's kind of a danger color with yellow. But yeah, Alyssa, if you have any other questions about Twitch and what I do there, let me know. It's where I'm found most often. Okay, all ready to give it a try. Love abstract art. I've done a few palette knife paintings upon my own and loved how they turned out. Yay, I'm excited for you, Patty. Oh my gosh. Free streaming site. Thank you, Brittany. Oh, you're on top of all these answers. I think she has it linked in her Facebook. I do. Yes, I try and link them all everywhere so you can find me everywhere. And then alternatively, I have, oh, what was that? What was that band? Oh boy. Oh, bot spam. Excellent. Fun times. Yeah, on YouTube as well, I post all my past tutorials as well. So if you need to catch up on anything, youtube.com/erinbunpaints. It's the same everywhere. Same everywhere. I have to go now, Erin, says Christy. No worries. Have a fantastic evening, Christy. I'm glad you enjoyed watching. I believe you said you were just watching today, so hope you had a good time. Okay, awesome. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thanks, Andrew. I'm glad you like it. Twitch, let me catch up here. Back me up. I'm live all the time. She's never live. Love the froggy. I know, James. I'm so excited that you suggested a frog. It really was the perfect addition. Oh, I didn't have any flies. I was going to add a little fly biome, but maybe what I'll do is I'll tell people to add it. I'll say customize with a fly. Frog. Twitch cord should be a thing. Erin just invented something. Right? With my stuttering, so good. But the lighting is bad here. The colors looks a bit different. Silver is shiny. Oh, with the photo maybe? it's beautiful. Yes, please post to Discord. So happy with mine. I use rainbow. Oh, Jules, you use rainbows. Oh my gosh. So she just said, screw your color palette knowledge, Erin. I just want to use rainbow. Amazing. I want to see that so badly. If you're in the Discord, send it to Discord. If you're on Facebook, go to the Facebook event page, please. If you don't mind sharing, I'd love to see that. I've never tried like all the colors before, so I'm really interested in how they all laid down together and like mixing and stuff like that. So please feel free to share. Nice, we got 2 bots at the same time. Amazing. Shoo bot, shoo. Life is bullying me. All the pressure. Grandma got him. I'll let you two put it out. You got the swords. You guys can sword fight it out. Grandma June, gotta buy a palette knife and do this tomorrow. Good night. Good night, June. And just remember, you do not need to buy one if you don't want to. I mean, if you want to make an investment in one of these, cool. But credit card, business card, any like hard piece of card is good. What else did I say? Like the edge of, you know, a wood or plastic brush will do. Anything with a sharp straight edge. So feel free. Just don't want to make you feel like you gotta go buy things. That's kind of the point of this. I want people to feel like they can use whatever they want. So, oh, the paint came out great. Thank you, Julia. Thank you. Feel the pressure growth, like the pressure touching finger. The pressure, the scraping pressure. Oh, see rainbow. Me too. I know. I'm so excited. Kitchen knife. Yep, you can use a kitchen knife. Use your good, super quality kitchen knives on your paintings. Why not? Honestly though, plastic cutlery I think would work fine. Send a picture. Didn't see how cheap plastic knife. Yep, there. James is right on it. James is right on it. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Alyssa. You're truly a gem to find. Been looking for ways to ease my anxiety. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. If I can provide anything like that, it makes me the happiest. Again, that's the whole point of doing this. Just giving people a little bit of a chill out and something to distract themselves from anything. I was thinking more like current world issues, COVID, if it's just your anxiety, stresses. That's what painting does for me too, Alyssa. It's like, just lets everything kind of melt away. It lets me concentrate on something for a little bit. So that's my game. Yeah. Thank you so much, Erin. You're welcome, Patty. Andrew, do you have a Tumblr account? My daughter wanted to know. I don't. Andrew, your daughter seems so knowledgeable about her social medias. I think it was you who said, your daughter told me to cut my volcano plate and put it on TikTok. I've been thinking about that so much ever since you said that. I was like, she's onto something. But no, I don't have a Tumblr. And I'm still working on the TikTok, honestly, too. I need to figure out what to post. I don't think it'll be volcano plate. I want to save him for a little bit, but other things, I'm gonna see if I can post there, so you can let her know that maybe I'll be on there soon. Yeah. Do not buy palette knife from dollar store. It is tiny. That's Brittany's advice, Grandma June. No palette knife from dollar store. Thank you, Brittany. It was very fun. Thank you, Erin. You're welcome, Groki. I'm glad you had a good time. I have an expensive chef's knife. Is that good enough? Of course. Only the best. I would say only the most expensive and best knives. Just be careful not to cut right through your canvas, of course. Thank you very much. Hello everyone, Groke told me to shh, and I refuse. Her painting game, it's amazing. I'm yelling because I was shushed. Yell all you want, and again, I'll let you two fight it out here. Let the people see, that's what might be too good, but go for it. Came out, not game out, thank you. Y'all are wilding out in the Twitch chat here. Shh, let the art be free. I'll continue to yell if I want to. Shh, yelling, well. Is this the tutorial of? Whatever you want, Snoops. We got you to that sub goal. I want it soon, man. Let me know when it is. I want to tune into that. I'm making myself available to watch. Bye, Charlene. Have a great night. Facebook. It has been 2 hours, so, and I'm sensing that a lot of people finished up pretty early today, so if anyone has any final questions, maybe you're having issues with anything or want me to clarify, just let me know. I'll stay on for a few more minutes. And then I might honestly get off Twitch too. It's been 7 and a bit hours here. Getting a little tired on a Sunday. Kathy, thanks, Erin. This was fantastic. You're welcome, Kathy. I'm glad you had a good time. Again, what a great experiment, guys. This is so new for me too, to do something a little more abstract. So I'm glad I can give you at least a little bit of advice and convince you guys to try it. Because, like I keep saying, if anything, it's like just satisfying to do. Just a fun 2 hours, you know. This abstract painting looks like a crowd of people. Someone would. You're like the same. Another person on Facebook said that. Another one on Twitch said that earlier. Someone saw like a lady in a green dress earlier, and I was like, oh my gosh, who, where, why? And then I started scraping and she's like, don't scrape the lady. And I was like, where is she? It is kind of cool that way though. It's like, I was kind of describing them as people too. I was like, when I do like pops of color, I want to group them together. I was like, it's all these people having a little conversation over here. They're all just hanging out. And I was like, maybe one person's a little more alone, but they're coming into the conversation. So that's interesting. We all see that. Hi, Infant Margarita. Hello. How's it going? Welcome in. Yell all you want. You've come into the yelling chat. Hi chat. They're all yelling. Feel free to yell. No, I don't want it anymore. Do what you want. It's your life. My daughter is happy they remember her comments. Oh, of course. Yeah. I think a lot about it, too. Again, the only reason I haven't cut my volcano plate is because I suggested it one time, and everyone was like, don't do it! They all were very sad about the idea of, quote-unquote, killing the volcano plate. And, like, it's kind of true. It's kind of iconic. I do want to see what's inside. See all this green? It was from my lily pads earlier. But yeah, I didn't want to upset anybody, so I was like, maybe not. But I'm thinking of other things to do on TikTok, just like, kind of like I posted on Facebook today, that 30-second speed painting. I think maybe that would be a nice thing to stick on TikTok, like a few of those just like close-ups and just very sped up painting footage. So we'll see. Maybe she'll see me on there soon. Terry, after first try, I really didn't think I would try again, but this is my large canvas and I like it. Oh, I'm so glad to hear. I think this is a huge success for everybody. I'm so happy. Get some rest. See you on Twitch next week. I'll see you there in June, yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. I want a cross section so bad. If I could be honest, would me too. And it's honestly, the volcano plate's getting so tall that it is very hard to work on. Like, it's tiresome. Even sticking that on my legs all day, it's like a brick. It's quite literally a brick. Probably more heavier than a brick. So I kind of want to see the cross section. It would be a nice walk down memory lane in terms of all the layers of paint. This yellow is when I made the daffodil. This blue is when I made the... No. But it is kind of like rings of a tree, right? It'd see all the nice little layers, so... I'll try convincing some people if they're cool with it. I'll bring it up again. We'll see what they say. Me too. Run it through a bandsaw, cover the whole thing in epoxy, and then put a hinge on it. You can open and close it. Yo, that'd be so funny. No one will even know the difference. I'll just close it back up. Where do I go to show you? Terry, you can go to the Facebook event page. I would link it, but it's going to slow down the whole computer and potentially mess up the video here. So just make your way back to Facebook, and on the front page there, you'll see the event for this painting stream. It's called Abstract Paint Along with erinbunpaints or something like that. You can post in that group in about 5 minutes when I open it up for posting. Yeah. All right, Christy, bye, Erin. Thank you for your painting. You're very welcome. Oh, that will be nice. Yeah, Andrew, I agree. Okay. All right, so Facebook, I'm going to sign off here, and then that way I can open up that event for posting. If anyone's looking to re-watch this, if anyone was tuning in and is about to get their painting supplies ready, this video will be on Facebook until I move it to YouTube. If it's disappeared from Facebook, it's on the YouTube page, okay? So just know that it's somewhere for you to find. Otherwise, PM me as usual with any questions that you have. If you run into any issues, I'm happy to answer them. Just PM the erinbunpaints page. And I'll see you at the next one. Again, planning for Friday for the next tutorial, this nice lily pad froggy painting. I'm very excited about this one. I love it. I love it. Okay? All right. Until next time, Facebook, I'm signing off. I did use your colors because I didn't want to risk. Perfect, Terry. If you want to do that the first time and then you get a little more comfortable, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It's all good. Cool. Okay, I'm going to end the video now, Facebook, so everyone have a good rest of your Sundays, and I'll see you next time, probably Sunday. Otherwise, check me out on Twitch as usual. I'll be on most of the week. Most of the week. All the time. Okay. Bye, Facebook. Wave and goodbye.